year. And it is a tough school year. It may not be as brutal as the last couple of years, but it certainly has a set of challenges, particularly for our teachers. Hartford schools, like schools everywhere, had a really hard time filling all their positions this year. And there still are some open spots. And sadly, some of those spots are among arts teachers, arts and music and dance and theater teachers. So your work is really, really important this year. Hartford Performs never wants to take the place of a certified arts teacher, but the fact is this year, because of the staffing shortages, your programs might be the only arts programming that some of our students receive. Critically, at a time when the schools are really emphasizing attendance all day, every day, you could really make the difference between a kid staying home and kid wanting to come to school. Next slide, please, Emily. So last year, 100% of teachers, every single teacher who submitted a program response form, said that your programs help their students with happiness and enjoyment of school time. And more than half said that your program made a major or a moderate difference in attendance. So first of all, thank you for spreading joy and for giving kids an extra reason to come to school. And I really want to see this year if we can boost those attendance numbers even more. So when you are scheduling your programs with teachers, have them tell their students that you're going to be in school on a certain day. Have them emphasize that. Send a note home in the backpacks. Put it on the school calendar. Put it in the school newsletter. Do emails to parents. Let them know that you're going to be there, because it is a proven fact that you being there can make a difference in a kid wanting to come to school. So let's give them that extra reason. Let's do all we can to help schools really boost their attendance numbers, which is what they're looking for this year, because you can't do anything without attendance. So thank you again for all you do. I just wanted to say a quick hello and a plug for helping us boost those attendance numbers this year. And have a great year, everybody.
Okay, everyone. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go right ahead, Josh.
Okay, everyone, we'll now be going off into our meet and greet portion of this session. I'm going to put the questions in the chat right now. Please select one question to discuss with your group and have a few thoughts or comments ready to discuss or receive clarity about. You'll all have 6 minutes to discuss, so please ensure that everyone has the chance to speak at least one time in your breakout group. And Emily will be sending you all into breakout groups momentarily.
Just want to make sure everyone's able to see the chat and see the questions. Maybe someone Josh, can you read them out loud?
No problem.
Thanks.
First question is going to be, what are you most looking forward to this year as you engage with our students and staff? Second question, if you have already gone to the schools this year, how was it and what advice can you give to other artists who have upcoming performances? And last question, as a visiting artist, how can you support the teacher's classroom norms, i.e. the daily rituals / routines that take place in the classroom?
Thanks, Josh. And again, those are in the chat and they'll travel with you to your breakout room if you need to refer to them again. And Josh, how many do I have to answer if I'm in my room?
Only one question.
Awesome. All right. All right, I'm going to open up those rooms now, and you'll have 6 minutes to answer. We'll come back together at 4:16.
I wasn't able to join. Oh, there she goes. Okay.
Hey, Bob, how's it going? You are in room 4, so if you click the 3, there you go. All right. Someone was saying something and I couldn't hear. You're on mute, Ree, sorry.
I think it was Bob Lumen. You can probably pause the recording.
Oh, true.
All right. Uh,
Are we all back?
I think so.
Okay. Well, welcome back, everyone. I hope we all had a great time meeting with the other artists, being able to think about your work as teaching artists, particularly with your programs, just being able to be in a shared space with everyone else. We have a couple moments to hear from a few of you regarding your answers and comments to either one of these three questions. If you can't speak at the moment, feel free to drop your answer in the chat, but we also do encourage you all to come off of mute. So if anyone has anything to share, just unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
Just looking forward to working with the kids again. You know, I miss the kids. Matt Ryan from the Common Construction.
I think our group talked a lot about supporting the teachers as best we can. They have a very, very busy schedules and making it as easy for them for us to transition into their classroom. And how much we're looking forward to being with the kids again. And there was one gentleman that talked about introducing ourselves to the classroom and actually finding out from the classroom what they need from us as artists too. So there's a give and take, and that might influence our work with our residency. Not so much myself because I do mostly shows, but for those of us that are doing more extended teaching residencies, that certainly would favor that give and take.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, Bob Bloom in our group had mentioned that, you know, asking the teachers ahead of time, is there anything else that we can help to support in the classroom that they're studying at the time? I thought that that was really exciting. And Robert also, Dornfried, is that how you pronounce it? So yeah, so he also mentioned just in terms of asking if there are any students who either need extra support or are excelling at things, you know, in terms of helping to pull out the sort of, you know, best of the best, and then also the kids who may be marginalized as well. And then also I discussed SEL being used in the introduction, and you know, I'd like to introduce my puppet to each and every child in the classroom and ask them their name and ask them what they wish for with my butterfly program at least. And I'm really excited to getting to know the kids in regards to what their hopes and dreams and wishes are for this year.
Hey, it's Craig. So I've had 2 programs so far and 2 more in the next 2 days. I would say that the engagement has been good. The kids have been really excited. The teacher for a full grade program had expressed that really this was the first time some of those students had been in the auditorium. Like they'd never been in the auditorium before, and they were second graders because before this year they were home. But the important conversation we had with Jackson and Leslie was teacher engagement, and how when a teacher is participating along with us and the students, then the kids are all in and they will participate more. And when you have a teacher that's checked out, the kids will be checked out. And so we talked about ways to engage the teachers and get them moving and grooving with us. That's it.
Thank you for sharing, everyone. We'll be moving forward in the presentation. I think we're going to get the slides back up. Thank you, Emily. Okay, so now I have the opportunity to introduce the new staff at Hartford Performs, which includes myself and your program manager, Aisha Mobley. I just started with Hartford Performs in September. I started after Labor Day. And so far, I'm very invested and concerned about the issues that Hartford Performs targets within education and just that need for something else in the classroom that always was in the back of my mind, especially as a student of arts curriculum. I did go to an art school and I was in middle school, so I'm very well aware about about arts programming and stuff. I am I graduated from Smith College, I should include, just in May with a bachelor's in arts in psychology and sociology. I am most likely the person who you'll find yourself emailing or calling about documents like background check, a W-9, timesheets, questions regarding your vouchers, why haven't I been paid yet? I could probably help you definitely answer that question for you, invoices, all sorts of other things. And you can also email me photos of student work that's happening live in your programs, performances, a picture of you wearing an HP shirt in front of a school, anything that you feel is post worthy for our social media. So as we continue to further develop and build our accounts, we love to include images from you all because you are in the classrooms with the students we work with. So if you have anything, feel free to send them my way. But that's it about me. And I'll pass it over to Aisha, who will now introduce herself to you all.
Thank you, Joshe. Hello, everyone. Aisha Mobley, Program Manager here. I joined Hartford Performs back in June, and it was the best decision I could have made. I have served in education for the last 14 years, primarily serving on the high school level as a school counselor. During the 14 years, a few different times within my career, I did serve in administration. I did a year as Dean of Students at Global here in Hartford. Well, not here, I'm in Meriden, but in Hartford. So very familiar with Hartford and the community. And so here I am at Hartford Performs. What I love most about Hartford Performs is that I'm a strong advocate for the arts. I love the arts and I love being an educator. So being able to kind of merge the two into my new career has just been absolutely amazing. It's been a gift and a joy to be able to work with you all. And I'm so excited to be meeting you all today, seeing your faces and matching them with the names and the emails. I graduated from college 1,000 years ago now. I was a student at the University of St. Joseph. I did my undergraduate degree in psychology there, as well as my master's degree in counseling with a concentration in school counseling, also at the University of St. Joseph. As the program manager, I am responsible for the entire student programming portion of Hartford Performs. So I think of me as the liaison, the go-between between teaching artists and the schools, the lead teachers, the site coordinators. So I do a lot of emailing back and forth with the schools and with you all just to make sure that I'm linking and connecting you all with one another. I also am responsible for your payment. So when you submit your vouchers, I'm the one that's going in and checking and making sure that the numbers are lining up right so that you all can get paid in a timely process. If there are any difficulties that you're having, maybe getting in contact with an artist, or you just have some questions or concerns about your programs or about the schools, I would be the one that you would contact. So again, I oversee pretty much all aspects of student programming. So what I will say is when in doubt, if you're not sure who to contact because our program department has grown, send me an email. And if I am not the person, which most likely I will be the person, but if I am not the person that you should be connecting with, I will forward your email on. I know that several of you have asked in the email, is Emily still with us? Yes, she is very much still with us. Emily is not allowed to go anywhere else. She is yes, and my colleagues agree. She is a lifelong member here at Hartford Perform. So she has not gone. She is still the director of the program here at Hartford Performs. It's just that the programming department has grown. So Emily has some friends now that work alongside her the program. So thank you all so much, and we'll go ahead and continue on with the presentation.
Okay, as of right now, all schools are booked. And as a reminder, all programs need to be scheduled in the database calendar by November 22nd. Next slide.
Okay, so again, this is a very important slide because it has to do with money. So how do I get paid? So wanting to make sure that you have your program scheduled in the calendar on the database. That is what actually activates the vouchers. Thank you, Emily. That's what actually activates the voucher. So that's why we're really encouraging everyone to have those dates in the database by November 22nd, because we do want to make sure that you all get paid in a timely fashion. We process checks twice a month. So if you have all of your information in on time, you will get paid on time. But like I said, you want to make sure that your dates are in the database. Because on the day that you go to do your performance or your workshop, or if a school is coming to your offsite location, that is the day that the voucher actually will get activated. When your performance is over, you'll most likely have an email that day, just verifying the voucher. So verifying the students that were in attendance, or the number that you originally had versus the number of students that were actually there. You'll go ahead and submit that. Once you submit it, that voucher then goes to the site coordinator for review. Once the site coordinator reviews, he or she then sends it back to the database, which comes to me. I will do final review and will submit it to our finance department. So it does go through a few sets of eyes just to verify information, and then eventually ends up with me and goes over to finance. So if you can be, very quick with the turnaround time with getting these dates in the calendar and then getting those vouchers submitted as soon as possible, it just helps speed up the time and the process in hopes that you will get paid in a timely fashion. Next slide, please. So observation of programs. So another important aspect of Hartford Performs is we are committed to going out to the schools to view and observe your programs. So once you put your dates in the database, we're able to download a calendar and take a look to see who is performing where, on what day, what time, and we will be going out to the schools to observe your program. So if you see us, say hello and continue on doing your thing. We're just there observing the program. We are making it a point to get out and see more programs this year, so you may see us several times over the course of the school year. Please do not think that you're in trouble or anything. It is just our commitment to wanting to get out more to see programs this school year. Next slide, please.
Okay, and a few important dates to keep in mind as we're all entering schools. We develop questions, feedback, and updates over the next few weeks. We have today, November 16th, January 18th, April 26th, and our June celebration is to be determined for now. But please keep these dates in your calendar. Next slide. Now I'll take us off into final questions. Thank you all for attending.
And I just want to add, Josh, for those arts provider meetings in January and April, our hope is to get together in person for both of them, we hope, or at least one of them. But there's going to be an option to join via Zoom now that we have that knowledge. I see a question. Oh, thanks, Josh. Look at that.
So feel free to come off mute, whatever questions you have. We are here to answer all of your questions. If you don't want to come off mute, definitely put them in the chat. We will report out and answer to everyone. Again, this video is being recorded, so we're wanting to make sure that if you put a question in the chat, we will read it out loud for those who are going to be watching the recording.
Aisha, it's Claire from the Lutz.
Hi, Claire.
I saw that you were looking to have everybody booking the programs by the 22nd. There are some that just came in today for me, and there are also one that I'm going back and forth with and having a really hard time with. What happens if it doesn't get in by the 22nd? I'm making my best effort, but I feel like I'm pretty sure at least one of them is not going to be solidified.
Yeah, so we recognize that that is the case. We actually ran into that situation as well with the initial booking. So we are aware that that might be the case for some of the bookings. And so we will always extend grace to our teaching artists and our schools. But as close to November 22nd or shortly thereafter that you can get those bookings scheduled would be great. But there wouldn't be a penalty per se, but and again, if you are running into difficulty after quite a few back and forth or not hearing anything at all, please send me an email so that I can intervene on your behalf.
Okay, I may reach out to you on one of them now. As when the 22nd comes, should I send you a list of anything that's outstanding?
That'd be fine, and we can see it on our end as well. And just so you all know, tomorrow I will be sending each of the schools a list of programs that are outstanding that haven't been scheduled, which is why I sent the email for you all to plug in the dates. If you have any so far, plug them in, because tomorrow we want to send the most updated information to the teachers. But yes, you're more than welcome to send me a list of those schools that are outstanding.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Aisha,
Bob?
is Hartford Performs going to be opening up the application process for new artists?
Oh, such a great question. Yes, we absolutely are. That process is going to take place in the spring. What you can do is, several months ago, my colleague and I, we put a link on the Hartford Performs website. So you can go onto the website, and if you're interested in a program, you can fill out the information there. And then in the spring, we will be reviewing that information and reaching out to individuals who would like to offer a new program. We do have quite a few so far that are interested in joining the roster. So
Well, actually, my question is two parts. What I think I'm hearing you say, for us, if we want to introduce a new program, that application has a link to it. But for people who are not now on the roster, is that also available to them?
Yeah. So
Good.
you can direct
Excellent.
them to the Hartford Performs website, and there's a link on the website where they can deposit that information, and we will be reaching out to them in the spring for next steps.
Great. That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome, Bob.
And will we get an email about when we'll be able to submit new programs?
Yes, I will be reaching out to folks around early spring. But if you know of any right now, feel free to direct them right to our website and fill out the link on the website. But yes, in a few months or so, I will be sending an email out to you all to let you know that we're getting ready to open up for, for the spring to look at future programs.
For us. I mean, not for new artists, but for us to submit a new program.
It'll still be in the spring. That process is still in the spring.
Hi, Aisha. So if I have bookings or a date already for the spring, should I try and schedule them as well by the 22nd?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you for asking that question. So yes, even if you have a program in April or May, please still put it on the calendar, particularly for yourselves, because you want to make sure that you are available, during that time as well. And if you have to make changes, that's perfectly fine. You can always make a change later on or closer to your date. That's never a problem. Nothing is ever really set in stone if you have to make changes. But yes, even if it's several months out, please schedule those bookings now. Thank you. Great question.
I see a question in the chat from Tom Knight regarding getting paid. He's asking on the website, it says paid in the voucher, but he hasn't received the check yet, and wants to figure out timing of when to expect a check.
I direct messaged him about the last check and the timing of that.
Great.
So, but in general, so we do checks twice a month. And so, and we're it's not a specific day of the month we do it, but we do them about every 2 weeks. So your check shouldn't be more than a month apart. I mean, if you did a program on the first week of the month and we're cutting checks and it gets approved like the third week of the month, then you should get the check on the fourth week of the month. Does that make sense?
And Ree, there's a updated voucher date column on the voucher page, and when it's paid, you can look at the date, and that is the date that the check was cut, and it probably went out in the mail that day or within 3 days of that date.
Right.
So you should expect the check, shortly after that date.
So if I can ask about that. So when it says voucher updated, that means that's the day it's actually being sent in the mail?
That's the day it's cut.
That's the day it's cut.
And usually
Okay.
so it's cut and it's usually brought into the office the next day, and that next day is when I usually sign them and send them out. So when the date that it says it's paid, I'm probably signing the check the next day.
Okay. Okay, great. That's very helpful. Thank you.
But give us a couple days of leeway on either side. There could be weather, there could be car trouble, there could be whatever, but it should be pretty close to those dates.
You mean human beings are doing it and not machines?
Yes, if only that were not
Tom.
Okay. It's okay. I'll allow you to be human.
I have a question. HP family, Bob Dorfried, Professor Noodles McDoodles. Shout out to the other performers. This is a curiosity. You might not have all the answers, but how do the numbers look from last year to this year? Meaning how many programs, and a program would be like, let's say, one session. And so how do they compare last year to this year? Like, how many schools do we support? And also, when a teacher or a school is given the ability to use Hartford Performs, let's say as an example, you have elementary school ABC, and they are given 50 performances allocated to that school. If there's teachers that choose not to do it, do those 50 get used up no matter what? Or do the 5 of them that are not used go back to the, not used? I'm just curious about how that whole thing works, if I explained myself correctly.
So yes, so we just reported out on our numbers yesterday. Emily, would you mind pulling that up? I'm reporting out, Emily or Joshua, if you want to grab those numbers from yesterday.
Actually, I kind of have them off the top of my head. So
okay.
Compared to last year, it is about the same as last year, which actually, so the 4 neighborhood middle schools are doing programs differently this year. So they're not getting the regular kind of program. They're doing differently. But we have about 550, 560 programs booked at this point. So that is, like I said, about the same as last year. Programs are allocated on a per student basis. So each teacher gets to choose $20 worth of programs. And as you know, your programs are priced at $0, $5, or $10. So teachers can choose 4 5s, or 2 10s, or a 10 and 2 5s. So that's the varying number of programs. All schools are encouraged very strongly, and all grade levels are encouraged very, very strongly to choose programs. So we intend to serve all of those students in all of our schools. If there's a teacher here and there, and sometimes there's a teacher here and there who just doesn't select programs for one reason or another, those do not get reallocated. Right now we do an equal number of programs for each student. So we don't want to have some students get, $50 worth of programs and other kids only get 20. Does that help?
Yeah, that was good. And just curious. And part of the reason I asked that too is I remember one class I did where the teacher that day was absent, but I showed up, so they gave me to another teacher who wasn't expecting it. So I mean, I still did the program, not for that class or those kids, but it was like, how does this whole thing work? It seems a little fluid sometimes.
So that's when you contact me. I will deal with those types of scenarios because those types of scenarios should not happen. You should, as a teaching artist that has a confirmation with a particular classroom on a particular day at a particular time, that is the expectation of the class that you should be working with, and you should not be given to another teacher. So in the event that hopefully that doesn't happen again, but if it does happen, you don't have to go on with the performance. You can contact me right away. You can send me an email and go from, because that should not be happening. And I get it, you're there, they're giving you to someone else, you're doing what you need to do to get the performance done and commit, but the school should not be operating that way. And we certainly, as the organization, do not operate that way. Ruth.
Yeah, hi. You had talked about in the past either high school or possibly going outside of Hartford. Where's that situation? Where does that lie?
So that is something in the near future that we are interested in looking into. Right now, we're strengthening our middle school model right now and our pre-K model right now. Those two programs are really taking the emphasis, but in the near future, we have hopes of branching into the high schools and possibly branching out beyond Hartford. But no time soon until we really strengthen those other two programs that I previously mentioned.
Can I segue on that? What about the possibility of partnering with organizations like the Boys and the Girls Club, the libraries, the Scouts? So we take what we do into other kinds of organizations.
Thanks, Bob. We were just chatting the other day about some of the community organizations and partners with Hartford Public Schools that serve before and after school care, and sharing your information with them because they've approached us and being interested in artists. So while Hartford Performs is focused and committed to school day, classroom, school time programming, we do recognize that there are other community partners that provide programs for students that would want to utilize teaching artists that are local and know how to work with students. And so that was just something we were discussing. When was that? Tuesday? Yesterday? Tuesday, yes. But as in terms of expanding, Ruth, so just to clarify, programming has expanded, which is a first step in thinking about program expansion. So it is a huge win to have Aisha and Jashay on board. And tears could come into my eyes when I talk about the process and how grateful I am for these two wonderful individuals and the perspectives that they bring to make our programming that much better. And we can only grow and soar from here. So they are part of that expansion plan. And again, like Aisha said, the middle school, strengthening our middle school programming, hopefully a long-term outcome is that new middle school model could expand into high school. So we are on our way, and hopefully you can see some visible changes that are getting us there, slowly but surely.
And like everything else, it's a matter of funding. If we had the funding, we would do it today. So we're looking for it.
So this whole thing about what you're working on with the middle school models, are there ways for those of us who've been involved in this for quite a while, especially, and done a lot of middle school work to support you in those efforts, or to be engaged or involved in that process at some point?
Yes, absolutely. So with our middle school teachers, so the model is very different than the traditional K-8 model that you all are used to, but our teachers on the middle school level do have access to our rosters, and they do speak with us about their vision for their classrooms and what they'd like. And we do reach out to the artists that they are wanting to work with. So some of you have already worked with some of those middle school teachers. So yes, it's an open enrollment, if you will, in terms of who the teachers would like to work with on our roster. And then we would reach out to you all and make that connection that way. So absolutely, we don't have like a certain designated group of artists that solely work with the middle school. It's
Oh,
open.
I actually didn't mean about getting bookings as much, although that's really helpful to know. As much as I thought you were working on developing things to address the new middle school models, and I meant on that end.
Okay, gotcha. So it's more so of an internal operation, if you will, that we're working on in conjunction with the schools and just figuring out the best way of kind of adding more meat and structure to that program. So thank you for offering, but it is more of an internal operation that we're working.
Right, that makes sense.
I think I saw Tim's hand a bit ago. Hey, Tim.
Thanks. I was interested in knowing, I didn't get any bookings for this year, which, I understand. I just wondered if there's ever any late breaking programs that teachers request for whatever reason, or if, it's pretty much a done deal for this year.
So what I will say is that for the most part, the bookings process is wrapped up. However, in saying that, things come up where artists are no longer able to, for whatever reason, to commit. I just had that happen today where I had an artist, there was an injury in her team. The puppeteer cannot fulfill the requirements, and so she has to release the bookings. And so what that means is that these schools now have to go back and choose another program. So there are scenarios like that that can come up throughout the course of the school year, which would possibly allow for an artist to receive another booking. But for the most part, the bookings process is wrapped up. But again, there are certain circumstances and scenarios that might call for an artist being chosen later on in the school year. And thank you, Tim, for being on with us. I'm sorry you didn't get any bookings, but I appreciate you attending this evening's presentation.
I'll answer Tom Knight's question out loud because I think this might be useful for everyone. Regarding photos at schools, can you use a photo with kids' faces? Now, the only time where we can repost photos with kids' faces is if teachers or schools post them themselves. So if you send me a photo with a student's face, I will most likely blur the photo out, but post everything else. So to be on the safer side, we say, hands and feet. So if we have pictures of student work, if you're like doing kind of like a bird's eye view over a table, that's a safer option. But if you have any photos with faces, we'll take them, but I will edit it to take the child's photo out the picture. So in case no one else knew that, you can send me those pictures, but I will edit it out. So try to get pictures of student work, surrounding things, just to show what they're doing.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
A couple questions came in before our meeting that maybe I can answer pretty quickly, if that's all right. A mention of Capital Prep Magnet School. They have a different school year calendar that does extend past June. But we ask that all of our programming have scheduled dates in the database and be completed by the end of Hartford Public Schools calendar school year. So that is on June 15th right now. Hopefully no snow days. So June 15th, even for Capital Prep, which has a different calendar. But you do want to be aware of that. Both of those can be found online. So you can see Capital Prep's calendar and when their different vacation breaks are.
Yeah, Emily, my understanding is they stop before you mentioned the school year, but the
Mhm.
bigger question is they start in July. And so
Right.
what about that? Can we start in July?
We're not set up to do that right now.
Okay.
So they know they know that, and they know they just need to be patient.
Okay.
Okay. I think these others were addressed as well already. Okay.
We have just a few minutes left. We want to make sure that we give ample time for anyone else who has a question, whether you'd like to unmute or drop it in the chat.
I have one question. Are we going to be doing virtual? Are teachers able to select virtual programs this year, or is that not going to be doing? Are you not going to be doing that this year?
That's a great question. So not this year. Hartford Public Schools, the district would like for all programs to be in person. And so they've asked us not to offer the virtual programming this school year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Matt Mazer, you're making us all hungry.
I know, ma'am. Chocolate croissant. Delicious.
Oh, come on.
But yeah, excited for the school year to start. Very excited to see all the students again. And yeah, it's going to be a great year. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Hi, Aisha. This might not be the space. I can email and we can schedule a meeting, but regarding a school deciding not to do a school tour and to take an on-demand version of our show, maybe I can talk with you about if that works or not through Hartford Performs.
Yeah, let's talk offline about that.
Yeah.
Like to know who the school is and what the reasoning would be. So yes, if you want to even shoot me an email tonight, and
I
I'll
can.
get back to you tomorrow, that'd be great.
All right, awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. So we certainly don't want to belabor the time. We've got 2 minutes to 5 o'clock, but just want to give folks another moment or so if you have any other questions. Marvin, is that a goodbye or I have a question?
I do have a question. I'll just throw this out there. I'm trying to find someone that wants to actually replace me and do my shows for me. I'm reaching a point where I'm starting to let my work go. I don't think it's going to happen for another couple, 2-3 years, but I just throw it out into the atmosphere that maybe there's somebody out there, a younger person that wants to be my protege in East Providence, Rhode Island, and actually take over my work and become another Marvin. I don't know if that's possible, but you know.
It's not.
Thank you. A reasonable facsimile, I suppose, is good. But I just throw that out there in case anybody knows any young people that want to learn a magic science show and actually do it for me. And of course they get very good, very good pay for it. And maybe I'll start a little franchise.
It's not a great way to end the meeting, Marvin.
Okay, franchising.
Oh, goodness. Well, it is 5 o'clock and we want to be mindful of all of your time tonight. Thank you all so very much for joining us. It was a pleasure meeting you all. I look forward to our next event in January. So we'll see you soon. Feel free to email either of us if you have any questions or anything. We love connecting with you all. And thank you so much. Go out and be great. Thank you so much for all that you do. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all. Take care.